We have a special guest with us this morning who is going to be introducing the Haftarah. This is Gila Axelrod. Many of you will actually know her. She grew up here at Temple Sinai, celebrated as a bat mitzvah here. As a college undergraduate, Gila attended the joint program in New York City, earning degrees simultaneously from Columbia University and the Jewish Theological Seminary, Bachelor's of Arts in Sociology and Jewish Thought. And upon graduating from college, Gila did a year of service with City Year AmeriCorps, and then worked at the Shalom Hartman Institute in New York City and Jerusalem, and then served as the editor-in-chief of New Voices magazine, a Jewish magazine by and for college students. She did this for 2 years. She is now a second-year rabbinical student at Hebrew College in Newton, Massachusetts. And we are delighted to be learning from her today. Not only will she introduce the Haftarah, but she will then expand upon her remarks in a learning session that will take place a little bit later in our service. We will tell you when. We'll invite those who would like to join her to exit the sanctuary. This will be after Unatana Tokef in the Musaf service.
Shana Tova, everyone. Today, our Haftarah portion comes from the book of Samuel, and it centers around the prayer of one woman named Hannah. What could be more appropriate for this time when we are about to be spending hours upon hours together here in a state of prayer? As we sit in this sanctuary, reciting the words of the Machzor, the High Holiday Prayer Book, it feels essential to think about what we are actually doing here. What does it mean to pray? Do we think the things that we ask for are really going to come true? Can a divine being actually hear us? And how do we even talk to God in a world that feels so devastatingly broken? Now, I'm in my second year of rabbinical school, and I think they're going to cover all that in the fourth year. So stay tuned to check back with me in 2029. Maybe I'll have the answers for you then. Luckily, though, our Haftarah portion does give us an example of what prayer can be, even in deep moments of suffering and tumult. Our story begins with an Ephraimite named Elkanah, who had 2 wives. One of his wives was named Hannah. She was the beloved, yet barren wife. The second wife, Peninnah, had many, many children. Each year, their husband Elkanah would offer a sacrifice to God. During this holy time, though, Peninnah would bully Hannah about her lack of offspring, taunting her, saying God had closed up her womb. While this sounds pretty horrible to me now, I can only imagine how soul-crushing it would have been back then, when a woman's entire life was measured by their ability to bear children. But this time, in our story, Hannah could not bear it anymore. She rose up and she went to the temple. She started to pray from her heart, weeping and sobbing all the while. The Torah describes her state as mar'at nefesh, which is often translated as wretchedness. But that did not sit right with me. It literally means bitterness of soul. Hannah's soul ached with a bitter pain from her life circumstances. She continued her prayer, promising that if she bore a son, she would dedicate his life to God. Her mouth moved, but no sound came out of her mouth as she prayed these words. Eli, the priest, was watching her. "What are you doing? Are you drunk?" he essentially asked her. "Not at all," Hannah replied. "Va'eshpoch et nafshi lifnei Hashem." I have been pouring out my soul before God. Hearing this, Eli blesses her and tells her to go in peace. 2 verses later, Hannah conceives and bears a son named Samuel, who we all know well. Miracle of miracles, her wish was granted. But that's actually not the part of the story that I want us to focus on today. Let's go back a verse. Vatelech ha'isha ledarka, vatochal, ufanea lo hayu la'od. The woman went back on her way. She ate, and her face was no longer as it was. To me, that means she was no longer downcast. Even before she was given a child, something inside Hannah changed that day. It was not due to her prayer being answered, and it was not due to her conceiving a son. The change occurred through the very act of prayer itself. Her cries, her tears, her whispered words, and her agony were inherently transformative, regardless of the outcome. As modern people living in 2025, sometimes we might feel awkward or strange when we try to pray. We come to services, we recite these words, but there's not the same collective closeness to God that there seems to have been during Hannah's time. This difference might lead us to believe that we need prayer less, when in fact, the circumstances of our contemporary world would be enough to leave anyone in a state of constant distress. We might call it mar'at nefesh. We live through tragedy after violent tragedy, watching it all unfold on our phones. We've been forced to acclimate to this reality, where most of us just have to numb our hearts in order to get through the day. The story of Hannah that we're going to read today offers an antidote for our time. She models praying when everything is going wrong, when she's suffering, exactly in the moment when she does not feel God's presence. I don't know if any of us today can relate to that. Hannah prays from a place of desperation. The Torah commentator Radak explains that after so much provocation, Hannah's outpouring, her silent prayer, came from an abundance of emotion that was just waiting to be released. It seems to me that there was too much pain to put into words. I think we can all relate to that experience. We let things build up for too long because we don't have the time or the space to feel them. But what if tefillah, prayer, was a time when we really could feel it all? The bitterness of soul, the physical, emotional, or spiritual ache. What if, like for Hannah, the very fact of pouring out our souls is the prayer, because it affirms that we can still feel, that we are still in touch with what makes us human, that we care for all of God's creation. Whether or not anything material changes in the world is not the point. The point is that we change, that if we pour out our souls, prayer has the potential to change us. And I would not be surprised if that changed the world. Shana Tova. We'll be talking more about these ideas when Rabbi Adam tells us.
Thank you, Gila. Yishar kochech. Beautifully done.